Have you ever opened up a trading app, looked at all the options to buy or sell a stock, and just felt completely lost? You see things like market, limit, stop loss, and it feels like you need a whole new dictionary just to get started. Well, today, we're going to demystify it all, and we're going to start with one really simple idea. I love this analogy because it cuts right through the noise. At the end of the day, every single stock order is just you giving instructions, and those instructions boil down to one critical choice. Are you prioritizing getting a specific price, or are you prioritizing the speed of getting the trade done right now? That's it. That's the fundamental trade-off we're going to unpack. So here's our game plan. We'll start with a big idea, then break down the two essential orders that everything else is built on. We'll see how you can combine them into more advanced strategies. And then, super important, we'll wrap up with a critical warning that could save you from making a really common and pretty costly mistake. All right, let's dive in. The art of the order. You know, your trading app might throw a dozen different order types at you, and it feels complicated on purpose, but here's the secret. They all grow from the exact same, very simple root. This is the key to unlocking the whole thing. I want you to think about it like primary colors. You only need red, yellow, and blue to create an entire rainbow of other colors, right? Well, it's the exact same idea in the stock market. You only need to truly understand two basic order types, and from there, you can understand pretty much all the others. It makes everything way less intimidating. So what are these two magical building blocks? Well, they represent that fundamental choice we talked about, the one you have to make every single time you trade. Do you want speed and a guarantee that your trade will happen right now? Or do you want total control over the exact price you pay? You can't always have both. And this chart lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have the market order. This is your get me in or get me out right this second button. The execution is guaranteed. It will happen. The risk, you might not love the final price you get. On the other side is the limit order. This one says, I'm only willing to trade at this price or better. So your price is guaranteed. The risk, if the market never hits your price, your trade might never happen at all. So let's talk about that market order. The key word here is immediately. It is, without a doubt, the fastest way to get a trade done. But, and this is a huge but we'll come back to, the stock market moves in milliseconds. So the price you see when you click that buy button might be slightly different from the price you actually get when the order goes through. Now, the limit order. This is your tool for absolute precision. You are in the driver's seat. Say you like a stock that's trading at 100 rupees, but you'd love to buy it if it ever dips to 95. You just place a limit order at 95 and you can, walk away. If and when the stock hits that price, the system will automatically execute the trade for you, even if you're not watching. It's control. Okay, so we have our two building blocks, speed and control. Now the fun begins. We can start stacking these blocks to build those more advanced strategies. But as you're about to see, they're not really that advanced at all. Let's start with a classic, the stop-loss order. This one is purely about playing defense. Let's say you buy a stock at 100 rupees. You decide beforehand, you know what? The most I am willing to lose on this is 10 rupees per share. So you place a stop-loss order at 90. If the stock ever falls to that price, the system automatically sells it for you, protecting you from any further losses. But here's the big reveal. A stop loss isn't some new mysterious type of order. It's just our good old friend, the limit order, but with a specific job description. It's still just a preset instruction to sell at a specific price. You're just using it as a safety net instead of a way to get into a trade. See? It all comes back to our rule of two. And that same simple limit order is like a Swiss Army knife. You can use it for all sorts of things. You can set a profit target so it automatically sells when your stock hits high. Or you can use it to buy a stock you like, but only if it goes on sale to a price you've chosen. It's the same tool, just used for different goals. So versatile. Okay, let's take this a step further. What if we could combine all of this, our entry, our profit goal, and our safety net, into one single command? Well, you can. Some brokers call this a super order or a bracket order, and it's pretty powerful. It lets you map out your entire strategy at once. You basically tell your broker, okay, listen up, buy me the stock at 100 rupees. If it shoots up to 120, sell it and lock in my profit. But if it tanks and hits 90, sell it and get me out to cut my losses. It's the whole shebang, a complete automated game plan all in one go. And some platforms get even fancier. You might see something called a trailing stop loss. This is pretty cool. It automatically raises your stop loss price as the stock price goes up, so it kind of follows the stock upwards, locking in your gains while still protecting you from a downturn. It sounds complex, but just what? It's still just built on those same simple rules we've already covered. Now, that super order, it sounds amazing, right? A totally set it and forget it strategy. What could be better? But hold on. This is where we need to pause and introduce a really critical piece of advice, especially if you're just getting your feet wet in the market. So you have to be asking, why? If you can automate your whole trade, why on earth would anyone, especially an expert, tell you not to use it? Well, the reason has to do with some of the technical plumbing of the market that usually happens behind the scenes. And there it is. This is the heart of the issue. When you click buy, the deal isn't actually truly 100% complete in that instant. Behind the curtain, there's a process called settlement. Think of it like this. The ownership of the shares has to be officially transferred and recorded, and that takes time. This is called the settlement period, often T+2, or the trade day plus 2 business days. So when you place a super order, you're setting up a sell order on the very same day you buy, which means you're technically trying to sell shares that haven't fully and efficiently landed in your account yet. For new investors, this can cause issues, or even penalties, which is why the advice is often to keep it simple at the start. All right, for our last piece here, I want to come back to that hidden risk of market orders we mentioned earlier. Let's look at a tool that makes this risk, well, not so hidden anymore. This is what's called a market depth chart. Don't let it scare you. It's simple. On the right, you have all the buyers lined up at the prices they're willing to pay. That's the bid. On the left, you have all the sellers and the prices they're asking for. That's the ask. So right now, we can see the best, cheapest price to buy shares is 10 rupees. Okay, so let's run a scenario. You see that price, 10 rupees, and you think, awesome, what a deal. I want 1,000 shares. You go and hit that market order button because you want them now. You're expecting to pay 10 rupees for every share. But look closely at the chart. How many shares are actually for sale at 10 rupees? Only 200. So what happens next? Well, your market order's job is to get you 1,000 shares immediately, no matter what. It's a hungry, hungry hippo. So first, it gobbled up all 200 shares available at 10 rupees. But you still need 800 more. So it has to jump to the next price level, and it buys the 200 shares at 11 rupees. Still not enough. So it jumps again and buys the 200 at 12 rupees. And it keeps climbing that ladder until your entire order is filled. This is called slippage. And at the end of it all, that stock you thought you were buying for 10 rupees per share, your actual blended average price ended up being 11.50. You paid way more than you thought you would. And this, right here, is the perfect illustration of that trade-off. The market order gave you speed, but it came at a price. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you understand the tools, how could our good old friend, this simple limit order, have saved you from this very costly surprise?